switched my robot off. And I know more, but retain less, retain less, retain less, retain less, 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 less.
A form of media somehow predicting events soon to happen is something not viewed as a surprise to many anymore. There is an endless amount of theories crafted by those with a higher mind on Reddit, most of which are quite popular, one of the most being none other than the timeless classic, The Simpsons. The show has supposedly predicted the 9/11 attacks, presidential candidates, and virus breakouts. And yet, one of the least talked about predictions are those made by The Circle back in 2014. Firstly, Ty Gospodinov has extreme similarities to none other than Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark, give me the Zuck. But you can follow up and tell me what that means, and I'll try my best to do it for you. What's the whole Zuck thing?
Zuckerberg is most notably known as the co-founder of one of the first popular social media websites, Facebook. Facebook is honestly a great website, and the source of some of the greatest content I have ever seen in my 16 years of living. Ty is in nearly the exact same position, co-founder of a hyper-popular technology. Ty is described as the boy wonder visionary, and obviously that description fits both.
Coincidence? I think not!
Another similarity would be that the technologies they co-founded backfired greatly. Facebook launched live streaming services in August of 2015, which was previously only available for celebrities. The idea of having access to technology only available to celebrities is what made the technology really skyrocket. Similarly with TrueU invented by Ty, it was something brand new that nearly everyone was using immediately. Eventually, the idea grew and backfired greatly. The tragic deaths and murders made multiple headlines, and here is a list of just a few examples. Ty's technology did not have as drastic effects, but it was without a doubt heading in that direction. Ty attempts to warn May, saying, "May, I didn't intend for any of this to happen, and it's moving way too fast. This idea of completion, it's far beyond what I had in mind when I started all this, and it's far beyond what's right. It has to be brought back to some kind of balance." May betrays Ty and exposes his regret in his own company to Stenton and Bailey. On the last few pages, while staring at Annie's coma body, May thinks to herself, "It was exasperating, really," May thought, not knowing, showing that Ty's attempts were to no avail and May will not stop expanding the circle. Building off of that, the untimely death of the character Mercer was ultimately caused by the misuse of circle technology. May grows drunk on power and utilizes her viewers and the equipment to find the long-lost Mercer. An epic chase soon arises and everyone's off to the races. Mercer slowly realizes that he has no option but to die in order to avoid being engulfed by the circle. May obviously feels horrible and believes that she is the sole reason Mercer died. In a not-so-private meeting with Bailey, he tells her, "It's like you were a doctor coming to help a sick patient, and the patient, upon seeing the doctor, jumps out of the window. You can hardly be blamed." You can hardly be blamed. You're a doctor." Okay, clearly Bailey has no motivation to get to the root of the problem and prevent it from repeating itself. Sound familiar? Yet another parallel between our world and the Circle. Bailey is former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. In his apology for the Canadian Indigenous residential schools, as showed here,
Mr. Speaker, I stand before you today to offer an apology to former students of Indian residential schools. The treatment of children in Indian residential schools is a sad chapter in our history. The absence of an apology has been an impediment to healing and reconciliation. Therefore, on behalf of the Government of Canada and all Canadians, I stand before you in this chamber so vital, so central to our existence as a country, to apologize to Aboriginal peoples for the role the Government of Canada played in the Indian residential schools.
He too has no discernible further actions that will be taken to compensate for the tragedy. Put simply by Beverly Jacobs in her response to Stephen Harper's apology,
there was a so-called apology to residential school survivors. And you know what it was like? It was like talking and facing an abuser. And I know what it's like for an abuser to apologize and still kick you and hit you as they're apologizing. So that's not an apology. It's not an apology when there is an action that follows it.
Additionally, Elon Musk, who is one of the world's most intelligent and wealthy people, believes there is a 1 in a billion chance that we are living in a non-virtual reality and that we truly are just normal humans. I'll let him explain.
There's a sort of a philosophic concept that a sufficiently advanced civilization will be able to create a simulation. Yeah, maybe you've answered this before? A simulation.
I've had so many simulation discussions, it's crazy.
Okay. So the idea is, right, any sufficiently advanced civilization could create a simulation that's like our existence. And so the theory follows that maybe we're in the simulation.
The strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following. That 40 years ago, we had Pong, like 2 rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, we'll have augmented reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. Either we're going to create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will cease to exist. Those are the 2 options.
However, Musk is not the sole believer in this theory. Other great minds, such as Nick Bostrom, are nearly certain that this theory is the truth. Multiple movies and shows have delved into this theory of reality, the human mind, and what's really going on. Examples include The Matrix, Doctor Strange, and Black Mirror, all of which are widely admired. Think to yourself, how could you really know if the chair you're sitting on right now is real? Is anything real? Did you really wake up this morning? Does any of this even matter? If we've always been in a simulation or controlled by aliens, how could we know the difference? Sorry, I'll stop. To consummate, The Circle by Dave Eggers, written in 2014, made some freakishly accurate connections to events happening today and in the past. The novel is a yellow light to all to take a moment of thought, and perhaps prevent our circle from completion. Lastly, as emphasized by Mr. Mullally, thank you.
It's gonna be me. Oh,